the Lord, the NFL season has begun, and I'm 1-0. Good morning, everybody.
Hey!
And welcome to a Friday morning edition
Let's go!
something we call the Carton Show. That guy right there is David Jacoby. That guy right there is Green Bay Packer Hall of Famer. Get off my back, Greg Jennings. And the big man right here, Super Bowl champion, Willie Colon. And we had football last night. And you had the hubris of Andy Reid, in part, costing the Chiefs their home opener against the Detroit Lions. Let's start Friday off the way we always do with something called
Headlines!
Detroit 21, Kansas City 20. Not the greatest game ever played. Not the shootout a lot of people thought we would get. But you had Montgomery running right up the middle. I wonder what would have happened if a defensive tackle named Chris Jones was there. And here's the weird thing. He was there in one of the most awkward things I've ever seen. Defensive tackle Chris Jones was in the building, in a luxury suite, and not on the field with his brothers, and Kansas City paid a dear price for that.
I thought it was a great PR stunt by him, right? Because as he's watching his defense struggle, he also is looking at the manager and the powers to be like, huh? I could have did that. That could have been me. Yeah, you know that stop you did it? That could right? Would have paid me. So I thought it. Look at it. He looks so uncomfortable. You got to get the big fella.
knees are too high.
It's insane. But
by the way, guaranteed the two guys on either side are his agents. Just saying.
right, but the big fella, man, he was much needed last night.
Yeah, it's funny. Listen, it's a tough way to start a season. No Travis Kelce. Clearly, Kelce's on the field. The game probably winds up on the Kansas City side. Gregor, what's interesting about it, Detroit wins. They get all the flowers they want. They didn't play great. You had a hurt team, an incomplete team without Travis Kelce, obviously, and without Jones. And it wasn't like Detroit came into Kansas City and put a 30-burger on them and blew them out.
No, they didn't play great, but I don't think the expectation for anyone was to watch the Lions go into Arrowhead and play great. It was, can they be different? Can they close games? Can they actually finish? And that's what we saw last night with a hobbled Kansas City offense. Obviously, we knew that they were going to look different. We needed to see that they could actually lean on their stars, their guys. That C.J. Gardner-Johnson, huge game.
Huge.
Obviously, Jared Goff stepped up in big moments, and their running game was right on time.
Yeah, Detroit did a really good job, and you saw a lot of the things we talked about this entire offseason. Kansas City's decision not to go out there and upgrade the wide receiving position. 6 drops yesterday, some big ones from Kadarius Toney. Giant fans in New York loving last night's game. By the way, it was just a brutal performance, namely by Kadarius Toney, but give Detroit credit. They had just enough to beat Kansas City in a place that's very hard to win. And they did something. Oh, that was a touchdown. No, it wasn't. He dropped the ball. They did something that no one else has ever done. Beat Patrick Mahomes in the opening game of the NFL season. That's a pick 6. He had never thrown an interception in an opening game, and it wasn't even his fault. That was Kadarius Toney's fault. Much more on last night's game coming up throughout the program this morning. But headline number 2. We talked about this a lot this offseason, and that's quarterbacks getting paid. Well, Joe Burrow is now the highest paid player in the history of the NFL. 5 years, $275. I did the math on a calculator. That's $55 million a year, about $220 guaranteed.
And he is well deserving of this contract.
What?
Yes, well deserving of this contract. It reminds me of a couple guys that doubted whether or not he was going to play and questioned what he was doing at the podium yesterday when he was moving along. This plays right into the idea of, you know what? He was trying not to say all these things that he's playing.
He's still not playing.
His contract is money. He is definitely playing. Joe Burrow. Congratulations on that big money take.
I will say this, though. What happened to the guy that 3 months ago said, I'm sensitive to taking all the money because it'll make it harder to sign other guys like T. Higgins when his contract comes up shortly.
All that, right?
Jacoby, he took all
the money.
It's one thing when you're in front of the microphone and you say the right thing. It's something else when your agent's like, here's the offer. $275 million. You expect him to be like, you know what? That's too much.
Yeah,
just give some of that back so you can make sure Jamar Chase and T. Higgins get deals too.
Yeah.
But NFL teams have a way of making it all work.
If I'm not mistaken, the Jalen Hurts deal was 52.5, so it's $2.5 million per year more than the last record-breaking deal. But congratulations to Joe Burrow.
Huge.
Great dude, great quarterback. Sorry, Justin Herbert had the 52.5, not Jalen Hurts. I apologize on that. But 275. But here's the thing. He gets the contract, but still no guarantee that he's playing week 1 against the Cleveland Browns. And that, of course, becomes a story in and of itself.
$219 million guarantees he's playing.
He's playing. You guys finally going to change?
No.
He's playing.
Well, I'm standing on the soapbox. The reason you don't play him because you don't pay him to beat the Browns week 1. You pay him to beat Buffalo in a divisional game. So you got to keep, first of all, he's not healthy. I don't think he's as healthy as he says he is. I also think you got to protect him against the Browns and Myles Garrett. And then you save him for Baltimore because that's going to be another divisional big game. And you want to make sure that he finishes the season. So rest him. He's already paid money in the bank. He's fine.
Yes.
He doesn't play.
Yeah,
Wait, can I say
I know what
something?
you're going to say. Go ahead.
Wait, Buffalo in a divisional game?
He meant a conference game.
Conference game,
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay. So, yeah.
Either way, my point is you want him for the playoffs,
Yes.
not week 1 versus the Browns.
But okay, I was waiting on this because you don't even really like Buffalo. You don't have them finishing anywhere near the top of their even division.
That has nothing to do with Joe Burrow's contract. I mean, I don't give a damn about the Buffalo Bills. You're right. It's about Joe Burrow being ready in the playoffs, and you need him out there.
We got plenty of time to argue about this some more and embarrass one another. The final headline, though, is, of course, a divisional matchup. Sunday night, all the talk this offseason about Dak Prescott, the legacy of Dak. Is he going to be an interception machine? Can he lead the Dallas Cowboys? And there's been very little talk about a team that last year went to the playoffs, won a road playoff game, and has gotten, I think, significantly better on the offensive side of the ball, and that's the New York Giants. Cowboys favored by 3.5. They have the Giants. It's not till Sunday night, but that's probably the biggest and most important divisional game in week 1.
Yeah, it definitely is. And when you look at the New York Giants, again, last season, no one expected them to make the postseason. They have an opportunity Sunday night to make a statement against a team that we're all talking about having the opportunity to do something special that has not been done in over 24 years down in Dallas. So the New York Giants, they're on notice right now. Daniel Jones, let's go.
There you go. Listen, we got a great show for you today. Our first Football Friday of the new NFL season. We will walk through the recipe for an embarrassing home loss last night. Many people to blame. We'll name names right after this. All right, well, the Kansas City Chiefs are now 0-1, and that's good for the New York Jets when it comes to home field advantage come playoff time. We'll get to that later on in the season, of course. But the big story from last night, Patrick Mahomes did his job. He played great. His wide receivers let him down, namely that guy right there, number 19, former New York Giant, Mr. Big Mouth himself, Kadarius Toney, had about 5 or 6 drops for first downs, maybe for touchdowns. And here's Patrick Mahomes after the game saying he still believes in his guy. Go ahead.
Stuff's not always going to go your way. Obviously, he would have wanted to catch a few of those in the game, but I've trusted he's going to be that guy that I go to in those crucial moments, and he's going to make the catch and win us some seasons like he did last year. So we're going to continue to work him in, get him more and more reps, and I'm sure that those drops will kind of disappear.
Kadarius Toney, 1 catch, 1 yard. 1 catch, 1 yard.
Is that good? Is that good?
1 catch, 1 yard. If you're just tuning in, Kadarius Toney last night had 1 catch, 1 yard, and officially had 4 drops. But I want to show you the one drop that's the most glaring. We can go just a freeze frame. This is what we call a perfect pass and an unacceptable drop by Kadarius Toney. Do we have that, guys? Look at that. That ball, I kind of wanted it like a frame before that when you see it in his hands.
Yeah.
But why do I go to meetings before the show? In any event, New York loves it. I'm a New Yorker.
Yep.
I love it because he's been trash talking New York. He's a big mouth guy. He had an opportunity to help the Chiefs win last night, and he failed.
Can I give him some grace?
Do what you got to do.
No.
Am I allowed to?
You do what you got to do.
This is a dude that was dealing with a lot during training camp.
Stop.
Injuries, didn't have the time nor the chemistry with Patrick Mahomes, and it showed last night.
No, that's.
And he fought his way through rehab to even be on the field. So it was indicative to why he struggled, because drops were bad. He had a tough training camp. He fought through it, rehab, and he called.
Let me ask you a question. Was any of that rehab on his hands? Like that ball hits him in the
Craig,
hands.
This is why I'm gonna lean on you.
Yeah.
Quarterback, wide receiver relationship, it doesn't happen overnight. You need time. I know he played last year. I know he had a decent Super Bowl. But it was a factor. Was it not? Is it not a factor or is it not a factor?
So I hear what you're saying. I don't believe in any of those situations it was a factor. I thought you were going to get Kadarius Toney and talk about he got to be better.
Well, no, that's the three you hear. I was going to give him some grace.
I was going to be the one to say I'm not going to pile on.
Why not?
Because I'm a receiver. And I've been there. I've experienced this. I've had moments where I've let.
You've had drops like that, though?
I had a game where I dropped a pick or I dropped the ball, interception, came back down, dropped a touchdown. My only drop touchdown of my career.
Yeah.
And I had to mentally get myself out of that situation. Look, I get it. It's easy for us to say you got to make those. Now, out of all the drops,
that was the worst.
That right there is the toughest one. That's the toughest one. Those balls are hard to catch. This one right here.
How he catches it.
This one right here, the timing of it, terrible. You got to make that catch. The obvious one, the one that you still framed, the interception on pick six. Like, you can't have those moments. And what makes it even more glaring to us is that Travis Kelce's on the sideline.
Right.
We're expecting one of these guys, just one of these guys, to step up and have a moment. Show Patrick Mahomes that you can count on me in these moments because this is all we have right now, and none of them was able to do it.
Yeah, it's bad. Look, I mean, you see the numbers right there. That's not good. You're not going to win games like that when you have more drops than anyone has catches on the team. Look, Isaiah Pacheco. What about Isaiah Pacheco? Supposed to be, don't talk about him being a 7th-round draft pick. Isaiah Pacheco's a great running back. No, he's not. And he wasn't last night. And I'll tell you the other thing, and I guess we could do this throughout the show today. I also put the loss on Andy Reid. Now, yes, it's easy to say Travis Kelce plays, they win. Probably fair. Chris Jones plays, maybe they win. Probably fair. But boy, Andy Reid, and he did it a lot in Philly, and he's gotten away with it in Kansas City. Sometimes, because he's a great coach, gets a little too cute for his own good. 3rd and 1, 5 minutes to go, 4th quarter, losing by a point, right, on your own side of the field. Isaiah Pacheco doesn't get the ball. Patrick Mahomes, your best player, doesn't get the ball. We run a silly trick play, a little jet sweep to Rashee Rice, 3-yard loss, punt, game over.
Yeah, for me, it's the 4th down decision to go for it. When
That's another one.
All your timeouts in your back pocket.
Yep.
Literally, every Detroit Lions fan, including myself last night, I'm thinking, you know what? They're going to punt it. They're going to pin Detroit back. Their defense was playing decent. They're getting stops.
Yep.
And then Patrick Mahomes is going to get the ball with time running out, and he's going to do something special opening night.
Let's get into that. First, it started at 4th and 20. And then, of course, you have motion penalty, brings it back to 4th and 25. And I asked the guys to still frame it. Here's why. You have more than 2 minutes left. You have all 3 timeouts. So, in theory, with the 2-minute warning, you have 4 clock stoppages.
Yes.
And let's be fair. Detroit won the game. Detroit's offense was not lights out last night. They weren't moving the ball at will up and down the field. You punt, let's say Detroit gets the ball on their own 20, being nice about it, right? 1 stop, 3 and out. You get the ball well over a minute to go, right? And what happens? You go down the field, you kick a field goal, you win the game. But instead, they went for it on 4th and 25, and Patty Mahomes threw a dart, and it got dropped. That's a 1st down for Kansas City. It got dropped, but I don't like the play call. Mahomes made a great play, and they should have gotten a 1st down there. But the mentality of going for it on 4th and 25 with over 2 minutes to go and all 3 timeouts in a game that their defense did a very good job, not a great job, but a very good job in, is a mind-bogglingly stupid decision by a great head coach.
2 things happened to Patrick Mahomes last night that I don't think he expected. One, his receivers to have that many drops, and his offensive line to play as bad as they did. I thought Aiden Hutchinson is a dog. We all know who he is. But in short yardage, that offensive line struggled. And I had been talking about the Chiefs' offensive line being the big bad wolves, right? They were going to be like these bullets. They got manhandled across the board. It wasn't
he had 7 hurries himself.
Yeah, but through the whole second half, even the first half, man, this guy was running for his life a lot of times. They were sending chips at him. They even had guys out of slot to block. I mean, they were sending the house to try to stop this defensive line and his front 7 for the Lions, man. And it became apparent that Patrick Mahomes was like, man, what is this? This isn't us, right?
Yeah.
Where's my guys? Where's my offensive line? And why do we look average on the opener of the NFL season?
Now, let me be fair before I get to Chris Jones. There is absolutely zero reason to panic if you're in Kansas City. It's a bad loss. There's a lot of people to blame for the loss, whether it's Kadarius Toney, whether it's some coaching decisions, whether it's, McKinnon had to drop, Rice had to drop. Nobody played well outside of Patty Mahomes. They do get Travis Kelce back. He's got 10 days now for that swelling to go down and for the knee to be fine.
Hold on. I think there is a little bit of a reason to panic if you're the Kansas City Chiefs.
Go ahead.
We spent all summer talking about how they don't have talent at the receiver and the running back position.
Correct.
They were missing Kelce last night for sure, right? Offensive line did not play well. But it was apparent last night they just don't have the ability to move the ball unless they have Travis Kelce on the field.
See, I
even
disagree
with
with
him.
that.
So all those receivers that we saw, Rice, Toney, Ross, all those receivers, none of them are reliable. And that's not going to change over the course of the season.
Yeah, here's why I disagree with it. The reason I disagree is that I don't think that happens frequently. These guys are still professional.
Thank you.
Collectively, they had a terrible night.
Yes.
Period. Stop. I don't think that you're going to go through a game like that again where you have almost 10 drops collectively, right? And here's the thing that should bother a lot of teams out there. They're all open. Yeah. These are not contested balls where a defensive back made a play over a wide receiver. These are wide open wide receivers. So if I'm watching that film, I'm looking at saying Detroit got lucky last night because Mahomes has guys open and he hits them and they happen to drop the ball. I'd be shocked if collectively that wide receiver group has a bad night like they did last night.
But outside of Kelce, if you're Patrick Mahomes, you don't feel confident in your team.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
You go outside of Kelce, you're like, ooh, I don't feel confident about these guys. My go-to 3rd and 6 or whatever, who am I going to give the ball to if Kelce's not in the
Yeah, the other surreal moment from last night, not just all the drops by Kansas City, was the fact that Chris Jones was there. First off, if I'm the Chiefs, he's not welcome in the building. I would not have allowed him to come into the building.
Not be visible at least.
Yeah, if he's going to sit in the
locker
suite
room
on camera while we're celebrating the unveiling of the Super Bowl banner there. And I've never seen this before in my life, where a guy who's healthy, ready to go, but is in a contract debate with a team, shows up in person to the game. There are alleged reports out there, guys, that the Chiefs offered him a 2-year, fully guaranteed extension worth $54.5 million. I don't buy that because they would know that's not getting the job done. He is looking, as all players his age are looking for, a 4, 5, 6-year contract for much more money than what they allegedly offered him. That being said, when you watch Montgomery running through the line at times, especially late in the game, on that 3rd and 2 to seal the game, and you're saying to yourself, boy, wouldn't it be nice if we had a defensive tackle that could make a stop? That cost them, in parts, the opportunity to win the game. And I thought it was a bad faith move on Chris Jones' part to go to that game when his brothers are on the sideline, going to war, quote unquote, to win a football game, and you're sitting in a suite like you ain't got a care in the world.
I 100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. This is exactly why I'm saying when we talk about him holding out versus holding in, this is why it makes it such more difficult to even hold in, because your guys, you're walking past them every day in the locker room where they're coming in the training room while you're sitting in there, and they know that you should and could be out there, but you're making the decision not to be. Totally get it business-wise, so I respect that. But to show up to the game and then we lose, and we glaringly at points in the game, crucial points in the game, which you highlighted leading up to this game. Where's Chris Jones most effective? 4th quarter. He's a difference maker, and we don't have him, but you're up there sitting in the stand seat. That's frustrating for me if I'm on that side.
I know we got to take a break, but locker room wise, that's a problem, no?
It's not only a problem, but if your defensive coordinator, Steve Pagnolia, you watched the defensive line play as hard as they could, and it just wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
And every time you look up, that guy's sitting up there having popcorn, having a drink, and enjoying himself. There was a bad look and a bad decision by Chris Jones. We got tons of football coming your way today. I'm so excited.
Football's here.
Because it's Football Friday. We had the game last night. We got all the games this weekend, and that includes my pick for MVP. Oop, I don't want to give it away, but you probably know who it is.
The Great Eight.
Are the New York Jets legitimate Super Bowl contenders? Kadarius Toney's hands got hacked last night. But from him to a guy that's actually going to win games, and his hands never get hacked. My quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, who actually said something I've been waiting to hear. The New York Jets are legitimate Super Bowl contenders. I present to thee, Aaron Rodgers.
There's a part of that is speaking things into existence, the idea of the manifestation. And the other part is a realistic look at the locker room, knowing that there's anywhere from 6 to 12 teams every year that can probably do it, and that we're one of those 6 to 12 teams.
There you go. Obviously, it's hard to hear it, but I played it for you anyway because you needed to hear it, even if you read lips. There are about 6 to 12 teams that can win a Super Bowl. I think we all agree with that year after year, and we're one of those teams. That's not cocky. That's not arrogant. That's not a guy saying, we're the best team in the AFC. That's a guy going, look, there's about 6 to 12 teams, and I think it's fair to say we're among those half dozen to a dozen teams.
It's fair to say. Look, he's right. I think they're one of those teams that we look at because of their roster and what he brings to the table. They got a shot. Yes. They got a shot, right? Like I look at the quote where he says, he has this quote where he says, I have to play the way I know how to play. Yeah. I love that because he understands this is on me.
Yeah.
This is not on the Jets and what they have been in the past. They brought me in here expecting for things to be different and look different, specifically at the position that I play.
Yeah, look, historically, this has happened, I think, 4 times in recent memory, at least in modern era of football. Brett Favre went to the Jets, started off 8-3, hurt his shoulder, went right downhill, went to Minnesota, had a great year, boom, went to the playoffs. Tom Brady goes to Tampa, bang, right to the Super Bowl, and now this. And the expectation is fairly that we on paper, it's always on paper, are one of about a dozen teams that have a chance today to view ourselves as a Super Bowl contender. And what I like about that is it's not cocky, it's not arrogant, it's we have a lot of talent here, let's live up to the talent.
Well, listen, I also think, to Aaron's point, if you talk about this offense, the Jets offense, 75% of the offense goes through the quarterback position, especially him. So he understands he needs to be great. He needs to be as advertised. My only thing is when Monday night comes against the Buffalo Bills, he's going to have to put on the cape. And at the age of 39, can he still do it?
But does he really have to put on a cape when the defense is supposed to be as dominant as we think?
Yeah, 100%, because there's going to be times that with this defense, they're going to fumble the bag, and he's going to have to save them. Does he still have it? That's what he has to do.
Right, but I think the beauty of this is last year, if the Jets defense fumbled and didn't come up with a big turnover or a stop, and the Jets offense did come on the field down 6 with a need to score, we weren't going to score. We didn't have a quarterback. Now, if the defense doesn't play well and we're in a tight game that we're losing, we've got a guy that we believe in.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with that. I don't think he has to put on the cape. I think that's what will hinder them if he tries to put on the cape and tries to press and be something that he's past those years of prime. Like, just be what you said, what I am capable of being. Be effective in the pass game. We know how accurate he is. We know he can extend plays and get off script and find guys down the field and it just break down defenses in ways that most quarterbacks can't. He's going to put them in great position to be successful, down in and down out. Just be that guy because you know you have pieces around. Anytime a guy gets up in age, we saw it with Tom Brady, we saw it with Peyton Manning, we saw it with Drew Brees, all these quarterbacks, you got to start supporting them. It's no longer can they elevate the guys around them. Yes, you're going to have them mentally ready to go, but now I need support a little bit because I'm no longer that guy who I once was.
This is where I get excited for answers like that, right? Because this is Aaron Rodgers' first year in this market.
Right.
And if he is not as advertised coming off Monday night's game, he will be dragged.
Yes.
Heavily dragged in this market. Zach Wilson last year, around Thanksgiving, they put his face on a turkey. On the post. Remember that?
Yes.
It was a big thing.
Yeah.
So my point is, Aaron, we know who he is. We know what he's accomplished and what he's capable of. But he's never sit in this market after a game where everybody's like, man, if you're not as you say you are, we will bury you live on TV. You will be stoned.
If he has the kind of game Monday night that Kadarius Toney had last
we're
night.
dragging him, Carton. We've been dragged.
He's going to finally understand what the New York fan base and media is really all about.
This is why I love what he said yesterday. He said, we're one of the 6-12 teams that can win a Super Bowl. That's what they were not last year. Because they were a quarterback away. And I'm glad you brought up Tom Brady and Brett Favre.
Yeah.
And another one I'm bringing in there is Peyton Manning to the Broncos.
Sure.
It's like a team is a quarterback away. They've got all the pieces. They just need this one last piece. And that's why his second quote was, I just need to play the way I know how to play.
Yes.
If a B Aaron Rodgers, we are a Super Bowl team.
We need an A Aaron Rodgers. B
do
is not
not.
acceptable in New York. Now with the money, now with the moves they made, we talked about
With
how
the
they pretty much
defense and all
customized the Jets organization for this man. There is no B. It's only A.
I understand what you're saying. However, if the defense is as advertised,
Yes.
you expect them to not give up a lot of points, right?
For sure.
If Aaron Rodgers is what he was for the Packers last year, I think that's problematic. But when you have the weapons that you have the type of running game that you believe that you can have, you don't solely go into this and say, Aaron, this is on you. You better get us there. That's the idea.
I disagree.
But you're not from a head coach perspective, and you as a Jet fan, you don't believe that Aaron Rodgers has to be MVP version of Aaron Rodgers.
I do.
You have to. You want that, but I
Listen to
believe
this.
he has
Listen
to
to
be
this.
that.
If you watched the game last night, you put yourself Patrick Mahomes versus Aaron Rodgers. Patrick Mahomes doesn't have the Randall Cobb and the Allen Lazard, those sort of like safety blanket guys out there last night. And he doesn't have the people in the backfield like the Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall. Like, Aaron has so much around him and so many tools that he can use, and he's so good at the line.
I'm not arguing that.
He doesn't need to carry them on their back to win the
disagree,
game.
and this is why I disagree again. And Greg put it in context, and he set the scenario. We need him to be all of that because of the moves we've made as a franchise to get him here. I mean, you talk about Woody showing up in an Apache helicopter in his house saying, hey, we need you. Like, whatever we got to do to get you to New York, we got. You want Randall Cobb here. You want Lazard here. Whatever you need, we gave it to you. We said that on the show this week. We pretty much customized the whole organization for Aaron Rodgers. He has to be the superhero.
Look,
Nothing less.
a B-level Aaron Rodgers might be good enough to win a whole bunch of games. It will not be good enough for New York.
Thank you.
And those are two very different things. Could they win a lot? No doubt about it, because they have all the weapons we're all talking about and the great defense. But I speaking as a Jet fan and a guy that did Sports Talk Radio New York for damn near 20 years, I can tell you a B-level Aaron Rodgers is an unlikable Aaron Rodgers who will not enjoy going to the diner in New Jersey after a win. That's real. 100%. Keep that for real. Yep. Look, that game's not till Monday night, so plenty of time to talk about that later in the show. And, of course, when we come back Monday morning. But time now for Friday's segment that everybody loves, a little something we like to call a For Real or Fugazi. All right, let me start off with a big interconference game. It's a game that I think, and Will is with me, is the big upset game. The Eagles will be upset by the New England Patriots. A For Real or a Fugazi?
For real.
Yes, sir.
What do you mean? I think the Pats are legit. I think, listen, I know they're dealing with some woes on the offensive line. You want to talk about this great defense about the Eagles. Yeah. But one brain is bigger than everybody else's brain in the building, and that's Bill Belichick. He will find a way to neutralize their best weapons like he always done, like he's done throughout his whole career. I have the Pats coming out with the W.
Eagles are favored by 4 right now. It'll probably stay right around there, but I'm guessing, Craig Jennings, that you're saying a Fugazi.
A Fugazi? Yes, Fugazi. For the exact reason that you just mentioned.
Give it to me.
Yeah,
I'm waiting,
he has
Greg.
the biggest brain when we talk about defense, but his defense is going against the Philadelphia's offense. And then you turn around and you talk about that offensive line struggles that Mac Jones had.
They're struggling injury-wise.
Exactly, that they have in front of them. They're going against one of the best defensive lines in all of football. Right. This is where we're going to see who Mac Jones really is. Right. And can they truly rely on this running game? Because if that running game is not there, then Mac Jones, you got to be all you can be. And all you can be is not enough.
All right. Let me go to number 2. You're funny. We got Chicago. We got Green Bay. How about this one? Justin Fields is going to outplay Jordan Love. For real? Or Fugazi?
I got Fugazi. Listen, I love
you. You have to say with some feeling.
Fugazi. There you go. Yeah, no, I think Justin Love is going to be as advertised. I think
Jordan Love.
I think he's going to be. He's going to have a hell of a season. So we'll see.
Greg, you're tied into Green Bay, of course. What's the word? And do you say for real or Fugazi?
This is Fugazi. Look, you got safeties on the Bears talking trash.
Big time.
Big time. This is a team in the Green Bay Packers that is flying under the radar because of the departure of Aaron Rodgers, and rightfully so. Jordan Love is coming in with weapons around him, young weapons, but he's been with them, and their running game is going to be the lead actor in this show. Jordan Love is not expected to just be all-world immediately. he's going to perform.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let me go to you, Jacoby. After last night's Kansas City Chief loss, the Ravens and Jets are on an inevitable AFC Championship collision course. For real or Fugazi? I pass on you.
For real! I'm going for real on that one. Honestly, I went into that game last night thinking Patrick Mahomes, they're going to win because they have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. And you just can't do that. And, it's very difficult to go back-to-back and win Super Bowls. And I'm not so sure about Ravens and Jets specifically, but I'm answering for real because I do think that this is not the Chiefs and then everybody else. There's a cluster of 5 or 6 teams that I can all see going to the AFC Championship, and it's not just the Chiefs. I can't pencil it in the Super Bowl.
I kept chirping the last month. No top 25 wide receiver, no top 25 running back. Kelsey's a man-child, obviously, but now you see how important one dude is. And I think the gap has shrunk between Kansas City and everybody else. I'll give you one more before we take the break. The Kansas City Chiefs absolutely regret not signing a top-level wide receiver this offseason. Oh, for real? Or drop it again, Kadarius? Fugazi.
It's for real, man. It's Captain Obvious. They looked bad last night, man. They looked bad on Thursday night. And so, Valley, I said we got to give Kadarius his grace, but they need a big-time number one to save Patrick Mahomes.
I think D. Hopkins would look good in a Chiefs uniform right about now.
He would, but this is Fugazi. Like, none of us could have scripted Travis Kelce's not going to be there and available week 1. So we weren't expecting any of these guys to step into the role of.
You didn't expect, but big homie.
Look,
Kadarius Toney, 1 reception, 1 yard.
You're right.
Nobody expected that.
If I would have seen this, what quarter did Mahomes get hurt? If I would have seen these numbers, when did Mahomes go down? The second quarter?
Look, when Patrick Mahomes is your leading rusher, although he's very talented when he needs to be, that's usually a problem for Kansas City. And again, all the drops, all the bad coaching decisions last night. There's a hubris with Andy Reid and Kansas City, and it bit them in the rear end yesterday. We got tons of football all morning long, and right after this, a little something we call First in Football. And the big question, is Saquon about to put the New York Giants back into the playoffs again? All right, welcome back to the Carton Show. Great to have you here. Great to have the NFL open up last night. Very competitive game, of course, and congratulations to everybody that had Detroit last night. Or has been my man, me and you, 2-0, 0-2. And for a team that has legitimate playoff aspirations, remember this, the Detroit Lions have not won that division. It's been 30 years. Wow. And you get off to a start like that. And Kansas City gave them multiple opportunities to win the game. And we will break down that game a lot more throughout the show and get you ready for all Sunday's action. But we turn it over to Jacoby now for First and Football.
Well, Craig Carton picked the upset last night. He picking an upset this upcoming weekend, picking the Patriots over that man and the Eagles. But the head coach of the Patriots himself doesn't even seem so confident going into the game. He said this about the quarterback he's facing, Jalen Hurts. Quote, "You're talking about arguably the best player in the league. Nobody has anybody that can beat him. And if they do, that guy's probably not playing for the scout team for that team anyway." High praise for Hurts from Bill Belichick.
Yeah, that's also the mind games that Belichick likes to play, right? You build the guy up because no bulletin board material for me. Bill Belichick is, as much as I dislike him, Bill Belichick is the greatest coach from a defensive standpoint against young quarterbacks. We know what his record is against rookie quarterbacks. He never loses. But even so against young quarterbacks. And let's be fair, Jalen Hurts had a great year last year, damn near an MVP year until he hurt his shoulder. And no one's going to argue that. But he's done it once. And now you've got to replicate the success you had last year. And everybody's now picking you to go right back to the Super Bowl. This is a great test, I think, for the Philadelphia Eagles and their sideline because Bill Belichick is a master at beating young quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think to all the reasons you mentioned, right? You talk about Jalen Hurts now getting the bag. That was established. He has the money. On top, can he do it year 2? Belichick is reading all that. I think he's going to suppress Jalen Holmes. It's like, listen, I'm going to force you to beat me with my arm, with your arm. And listen, Jalen Hurts can throw the ball a Mississippi Mile. But can he sit in there and make the key plays in the fourth quarter? And I think Belichick is going to neutralize all that.
And here's the thing. No one's disputing the Eagles are a better team. I would go as far as say a much better team. I frankly don't even know how the Patriots are going to score in this game. but I still think they're going to win.
They're going to win.
Yeah, that's
of course.
And right now,
Of course.
I'm undefeated.
It's worth noting last night, I certainly recognized the lack of Eric Bieniemy on the sideline. And some
Did
of the play
you?
calls
'Cause he
that
didn't do anything when he was
Matt
there.
Nagy did. And there's also 2 new coordinators in Philadelphia as well. We'll see how that performs on the field. Moving on to second in football. Seems like no one's talking about the New York Giants. We spend a lot of time in the offseason discussing the teams. We don't talk about the Giants that much. They signed Saquon Barkley, and Saquon Barkley talked about his mental approach after holding out and signing heading into the season.
For me, like, all that's in the past. Like I said, once I made that mindset to come here, you got to be mature about it. No hard feelings about it. So now, my back's against the wall again. I got to go out there and prove it. And, you know, I'm going to go out there, play my heart out, compete at a high level, do what I do best, not only for myself, but for my teammates.
Look, he's one of the top 3 or 4 offensive players in the entire sport and was last year. And him being great got Daniel Jones a heck of a lot of money and gives every Giant fan the hope that we can build on what we did last year. But you're right. The New York Giants have been a side story this year because of Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. And that is a real role reversal in New York. All the attention is always on the Giants and never on the New York Jets. You played here. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And I think there's an aspect of that Brian Daboll probably likes. Talk about them. Don't worry about us. We're going to be quiet over here, and we're going to tinker with our lineup and bring wide receivers in and bring tight ends in, and we're going to improve this roster while all you guys are focused on Aaron Rodgers over there. I am very excited to see what this new Giants offense looks like with Saquon coming back, not having to be 70% of everything they do.
Yeah, look, this is exactly what you want if you're Brian Daboll. You weren't expected to make the postseason, but you did, and nobody's even talking about you, even within your own division. You have all these acquisitions that you have to support Daniel Jones. I really like the Giants. I think they could be one of the second best teams within their division easily because of how well coached they are. But for me, when I look at this Giants team and Saquon Barkley, his back is against the wall, and he's exactly right. And one of the things that I'm going to take note of is this year is not going to be what last year was. Is he impactful? Is he important? Is he valuable to this team? Absolutely. But with the acquisition of Darren Waller and all these other pieces, you go out and get Jalen Hyatt, all these people, you're basically saying, Daniel Jones, we're going to want you to be the face now. And so some of those opportunities we saw him get last season, he won't get all those.
Yep, and just real quick, Daniel Jones has been destroyed by the Dallas Cowboys since he's been the Giants' starting quarterback. He has a single win against the Dallas Cowboys.
Moving on to third in football, we're talking about that man, Russell Wilson. He had a really bad year last year. This year, he has to prove it, and he spoke about that.
I'm used to some of those who believe and some of those who doubt. I think that when you're you're playing high stakes and playing and you dream to be the best that you can possibly be every day, there's always going to be people that question whether you can do it or not. And I think I've proven that throughout my career what I can do, and I got to do it again. And that's just the name of the game. Every time I step into the white lines.
Even that hat's Fugazi. Look, we all know the deal with him. He had a great career. No one's disputing that. Went to 2 Super Bowls, blah, 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 blah. Here's the reality. In the moment, we'll talk about his career when he's retired. In the moment, this is a big year for Russell Wilson because he played so badly week after week after week last year. And nobody's thinking about the Seattle Russell Wilson right now. We're all trying to figure out, and I don't think any of us can answer today. We got to see him play. Which Russell Wilson are we going to get?
Yeah, for me, he needs to look in the accountability mirror, right? When you point the finger, start with the thumb. He was god-awful last year. He was hard to watch on TV. And I have yet to see him come out and say, man, I stunk. I got to be better, X, Y, Z. All he said is, well, last year was last year. Let's keep moving forward. You can't, bro, until you recognize how ugly you looked on the uniform, a Broncos uniform, and how bad you played. So,
Willie,
I'm against Russell Wilson right now.
When he's talking about these people that doubt him, when he's talking about sort of the world's against him and he knows what he can do and he's going to prove it, this week it came out that one of those people might be his head coach, Sean Payton.
Not might be.
It came out this week. Like, it's not the media, it's not the fans, not outside. It's inside the building. It feels like there are people that doubt him. And coming into a season after a bad season, that can't make you feel confident and good about your position.
Look, it was so bad last year that we forgot the fact that he was going to the Hall of Fame. And now he might not be going to the Hall of Fame because it was just that bad. We got your mid-show headlines coming up in just a moment. That includes last night's season opener between Detroit and Kansas City. And is Kansas City in big fat trouble now that they lost 21-20 to the Detroit Lions? We'll get into that and all the reasons they lost right after this.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Carton Show. We have your headlines. The first one is this. The Super Bowl champs went down last night at home. They hosted the Lions, and they lost 21-10. Craig, what are your biggest things that you learned after you watched this game?
Things I learned about this game is that I'm going on eBay to try to find hands for the Kansas City Chiefs wide receivers because they ain't got none, at least last night. Patrick Mahomes was stellar again, and if those receivers don't drop those balls, he throws for damn 400 yards in last night's game. I was a little disappointed, actually, that Detroit didn't play even better without Travis Kelce in there, and with Kansas City not hitting on all cylinders, but a win's a win. I get all that. The thing I think, looking back on the game last night, that bothered me the most, and it had nothing to do with on the field. I can't get it out of my head that Chris Jones went to that game, showed up, knew he was going to be on camera, sat in a suite, and watched the Kansas City Chiefs play a football game at home with him sitting in a suite in the stadium. I think it was a terrible look.
Let me ask you a question about that, because I've been thinking about this ever since I saw it last night. Is the Chiefs obviously gave him permission, and he wanted to go, and he said he wanted to go to see the banner go up, which I found a little questionable. Do you blame more Chris Jones's behavior or the Chiefs sort of allowing him and featuring him in the suite?
No, I think Chris Jones was playing to the fan base, and I'll tell you why. Chris Jones didn't go to the ring ceremony when they won the Super Bowl because he wanted a new contract. So he blows off the ring ceremony, but he shows up in front of 80,000 fans who you know full well because we're all like Pavlov's dogs. What are all the Chiefs fans going to do? Standing ovation. Oh, come on, Chris. We need you, man. Then you have Montgomery, the highlight we showed, running right up the gut for a touchdown. Guess who would have been there to possibly, stop that touchdown run? Chris Jones, right? So I thought that was a bad look. I thought that Chris Jones made a terrible mistake, or his agents did, in going there and making a spectacle of himself. And then the other part's the obvious one, right? Kadarius Toney. And I pick on Kadarius Toney because he wants all that smoke. Kadarius Toney, is the guy that likes to talk a lot of smack to everybody that has earlobes. And he really showed last night that he cannot be trusted, that maybe he's not the superstar he thinks he is, because if he catches even one of these drops, you have a different outcome to this game. And the third thing that I take out of this game, that's the pick six, which was really not on Patrick Mahomes. That ball hit Kadarius Toney in both hands, not just one hand. But the third thing I took out of the game, and I call it hubris, and it is hubris on the part of Andy Reid. Andy Reid made two specific decisions that helped cost them the game. Decision number one, 4th and 25, and he decides to go for it, right? Instead of punting, 2:09 to go, all 3 timeouts, and the 2-minute warning, obviously, which is going to stop the clock. The Detroit Lion offense was not moving the ball at will up and down the field. Punt, 3 and out if you get it. You got all your timeouts and the 2-minute warning. You get the ball back with at least about $140 to go, and Patrick Mahomes down only 1. Field goal wins the game. And then the other one, and the thing that gets me, was 3rd and 1 earlier in the game, about 5.5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. All I've heard this whole offseason is you got to stop putting down Isaiah Pacheco. Isaiah Pacheco's a great running back. Isaiah Pacheco, right? 3rd and 1 on about your own 30-yard line. They do not hand the ball off, which they did on 2nd down to Pacheco. And they also don't give the ball to Patrick Mahomes. Okay? Now, someone's got to explain to me on 3rd and 1 why your best player's not holding the ball, and secondly, why your running back isn't getting the ball. They lost 3 yards on the play, had to punt, and that's on the coaching staff. I've said my piece.
I think also what was jarring is watching Patrick Mahomes look to the sideline like, I have nothing out here. He can't trust his receiving core. Right. Andy Reid didn't have any answers for him. It was almost like Patrick Mahomes was left out to die. It was, because through the whole game, they couldn't respond to anything the Detroit Lions was doing. All they could do was hold on, and hopefully Patrick Mahomes would throw a ball, and Kadarius Toney would catch it, and they would squeeze out of there. That didn't happen, and the Chiefs looked average, and that was tough to see.
For me, it was obvious. You miss Travis Kelce. He's standing on the sideline with the towel wrapped around his neck. Like, you miss Travis Kelce. But I'm wearing the Honolulu blue for a reason. And my takeaway is when I look at the Detroit Lions and we bring in a guy like C.J. Gardner-Johnson, is he going to be what we hoped he would be? He was at halftime.
He was a beast.
He was
last night.
all over the film last night. I love to see that. And Jared Goff, I don't think he's getting enough credit.
I agree.
And you call this guy Man Campbell, Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
He was Man Campbell. His decision to go for it, backed up on that punt. And
On the fake
punt.
yeah.
Huge. On the
You
17.
get that,
Yeah.
and then you go down and you score, you tie that
That
game.
was probably, I know it was early still, but that's a major turning point in the game because the offense was 3 and out. They're about to go 3 and out again.
And you go
he
down and
sensed
you
it.
take the lead. That was huge.
Very smart play. So I have to ask you guys the question. If you're in Kansas City, is it time? Is it time to hit the button, Kansas City? 3, 2, not yet.
Nope. Get the
Not time
checkbook.
yet.
You don't hit the panic
Not
button.
time
Get
yet.
the checkbook. It's
Not
time to get
yet.
the checkbook out and get Chris Jones on the field.
Not
That's what
time
it's
yet,
time for.
because you're still Kansas City. Mahomes did play great. And to be fair, I know we have the video of it, even on the 4th and 25, which was a horrendous decision to go for it, Patty Mahomes scrambles out, does a little dipsy-do, comes all the way out on the other side of the field across his body, throws a 35-yard dart, and it got dropped. Like, here's the play right here. Terrible decision to go for it, but Patrick Mahomes throws the ball, and it's dropped. That's a first down, and you're going to kick a field goal to win the game, right? So it's not time to panic yet. Kelce will be back for the second week of football against the Jacksonville Jaguars. He did some pool exercises and just had no strength, no ability, they said, to push off
He didn't
on
do
the
well
leg.
in the
So,
pool. If you can't do well in the pool, you can't do well
I saw
in the
that
grass.
too. They were like, hey, he can't move in the pool, but
Yeah.
maybe he'll be ready for next week. I was like,
So
okay.
the panic button does not get pushed for Kansas City just yet.
Not yet.
But
Oh, can I push that?
You want to see if it works?
Yeah, let
Should we
me-
just see if it works?
No, this
Are
is-
you-
guys,
are-
this is that's for Chris. That's for Chris Jones right there. You better get that man back in uniform.
Yeah.
ASAP.
Yeah.
Oh,
And,
they
and
will.
again, Chris Jones, bad job last night.
They
Bad-
need to
bad
get
job.
out the checkbook and pay Chris Jones. However, the next headline.
By the way, can I just ask you a quick question, guys? I want to go down that road one more time, if I may. If you're the Kansas City Chiefs, why'd you let him in the building? I wouldn't have let him in. You're not playing, you ain't coming in.
I can answer that. I
Okay.
think from a public relations perspective, if it gets out that he requested to see the banner raised and you as a franchise refuse that request, the optics are pretty bad for
You're
him.
probably right. And he did go to the charity event the day before, so he's trying to be an all-in guy in that respect.
Exactly.
That's probably a fair point, but still, me, if I'm a Hunt and I'm not, I would not have let him in the building.
You probably wouldn't be in this building if you were a Hunt, to be fair.
I'd own the building.
Exactly. Moving on to our second headline. Chris Jones wants to get paid. Well, guess what? Joe Burrow got paid. $275 million American dollars.
That's a lot of money.
5-year deal.
That's a lot of money for a guy who's not playing week one.
Seriously?
Not playing.
A ton of money. That's $219 million guaranteed. He had the calf injury. He said yesterday, remember he said, I want to be a Bengal for life, and we're working towards making that happen. He had a look in his eye that he knew that this was going to be the news the next day.
Yeah, that was only the look of a man that knew he was about to get paid a lot of money.
Yeah, it didn't
That's
happen
all
overnight.
was.
Yeah.
And this is good for the locker room, right? Because this offensive line doesn't have to talk about him possibly getting an extension. They don't have to talk about him getting hurt. Because now that they know the season's here, he can just move forward and get going. So.
Look, this was inevitable, right? The only question was, what was the number going to be? And I only say that because we know how the dominoes went. Every guy got a little bit more than the next guy, right? Jalen Hurts got X. Justin Herbert got Y. Bang, this was the next guy. And, there is sometimes value in patience and waiting to be the last guy. The key there is staying healthy, which he didn't do. But obviously they don't think that injury is a career shortener at all. So Joe Burrow gets more money than any player that has ever played the game in the history of the game. Meaning he was born at a really good time and obviously has played his ass off thus far. I still don't think he's playing this Sunday against the Cleveland Browns, a team that, by the way, he has never beaten. And not because of that, because he's now worth $250 million to your franchise. Week 1, while important, because unlike last night, it is a divisional game. And week 2 for them, again, another divisional game in the Baltimore Ravens. I can't risk that calf is 88 or 90% and he rolls out of the pocket and oops, there we go. And now he's out for 2 months. So because I've made the investment in him, I'm now also going to protect him, and I'm not going to play him this Sunday against the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, that's you. He's playing.
He's playing. He's playing.
$219 million guaranteed makes my calf feel even better. Like there's no what
you won't if that calf turns into an Achilles and you're not able to play.
He's playing.
That is all true. However, for me, it's kind of surprising though that he went and took all this money. And I say that only because their success, is it tied to Joe Burrow? Yes, but it's also tied to that offense looking the way that it looks. We don't look at them and say, oh, they're a great running team. We don't even look at them and say they're very well balanced.
Right.
It is these wide receivers and Joe Burrow, this is their show. And Jamar Chase is going to be up after T. Higgins, a guy that we've heard Joe Burrow say that he wants to keep the trio together. I don't know if they're able to do it now.
But and that's the only reason it's interesting that he didn't take a hometown discount is because he verbalized publicly the fact that he wants T. Higgins to be back. He wants Jamar Chase to have a long-term contract, all those types of things. And then when it came down to it, he decided to do what most people would do, and that
I would do it.
And it kind of went like this. Wait a minute, there's a nickel there. Give me that. He went and took every nickel. And it's his right to do it. And there's going to come a point down the line where maybe they lose one of their core members of that offense. But that is not today. And today, I think everyone celebrates the fact that the Cincinnati Bengals have their rock star quarterback locked up for the first third or maybe longer of his entire career.
We're going to see. We saw it with Jimmy G. We saw it with Daniel Jones this summer. They're going to restructure the deal, open up some cap space. Like it's not necessarily like as rigid as in other sports.
Yeah.
They can always make the movements and machinations to get.
That's a great point, Jacoby. When you guys hear cap, it ain't a cap.
It's cap.
There is always cap. It is cap. There's always a way if you want to go sign a guy to make it work. Like Daniel Jones, the ink wasn't dry on his contract, and they restructured it to give themselves more spending room. So that's a very good point. But you will have guys at some point, whether it's Jamar or T, whoever it is on that particular team, where they're going to get a significant amount of money as well. And it's harder to sign those guys. If you're looking to sign a guy in the $5 to $10 million range, restructuring a contract allows that. If you're looking to sign a guy that's going to get on the open market $20, $30 million a year or more, it's harder to sign those guys. But right now, that ain't your worry. If you're a Cincinnati Bengal fan, and I bust your chops a lot, you got your quarterback locked up.
Yes,
now you got to cross your fingers he plays.
Got to be happy. We go to our next headline, and that is, oddly, New Jersey is the center of the football universe
Damn
this weekend.
Skippy.
And, of course, we have Bills-Jets on Monday night. But Sunday night before that, it is the Giants against the Cowboys. Huge divisional game. The Cowboys and Dak Prescott have beaten the Giants 11 of the last 12 times. They don't even feel real.
Yeah, I got a question for Greg on this one.
What's up?
Greg, if Daniel Jones is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott, why are the Cowboys favored at New York? I'll wait for an answer.
Because they have the better team and the better defense.
Do they?
So I think Vegas believes more in the Dallas Cowboys defense than they do the New York Giants offense.
Dak hasn't lost to the Giants since his rookie year.
It's more that
That's
than
all it
anything
is,
else.
yeah.
To me, Eli Manning had great success against the Cowboys in the regular season, and Daniel Jones hasn't yet. This is a different Giants offense, though. And I think because the Jets have gotten so much attention in the media capital of the world, New York, I think we've slept on the Giants a little bit this offseason. New York Giants are a good football team. They're extraordinarily well coached, but it comes down to number 8. You believe he's a top 8 quarterback. We've had some fun with you. I can't disprove that yet. We're going to have to see what he does now that he's got legitimate weapons. But the New York Giants made an investment in a guy who threw for 15 touchdown passes last year, and they gave him money like his name is Joe Burrow, right?
Yeah.
So what's going to be really interesting about the Giants this year is, are they what they think they are? The New York Giants think they're the best team in the NFC East. I can't say that they're not. I think Philly is. But the New York Giants feel like we have a really good defense already. We made our offense significantly better. And remember, the Giants last year, all but one of their wins last year was by 8 points or less every game came down to a final possession or two. They're hoping that doesn't happen this year.
Yeah, look, I really like this Giants team. And one of the reasons why I like them is because of Brian Daboll at the helm and what he provides to Daniel Jones. Like, he's the security there. Like, but Daniel Jones, yes, he has to take the next step. And you're paying him for a reason, not because he's going to play second fiddle to Saquon Barkley and Saquon's going to be the show. No, Daniel Jones has to be the show. I believe he's going to be the show, which is why you support him with those new additions on offense.
And also the win on the road last playoffs was big for his confidence, going for the Giants.
Sure.
For the organization, that Brian Daboll. I think they're legit. I think he knows they can be legit. Now it's about taking the next step and making a deep run.
And remember this, Saquon Barkley's new contract, he has to have the greatest year of his career to make an extra $900,000.
Yes, not.
So if the guy wants to make an extra $900K, he's very motivated.
He's basically playing for the franchise tag. That's basically what he's playing for.
And I'll just say this about Saquon Barkley, because I think he's going to have a great year. Why would you think he wouldn't, right? Now there's other weapons, meaning you can't just target him only if you're a defensive coordinator. He could have the greatest year in the history of running backs. They're just going to franchise him again.
They're going to run it back.
Like, he is tied to the Giants at a low number for NFL players for the next 2 years. But do not sleep on the New York Giants. And what a great way to cap Sunday's action in football with a divisional game. One team that thinks they're a top 3 NFC team, the Cowboys. One team that thinks no one's respecting us, and this great rivalry. And I can't wait. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to stay awake for it, Willie.
Let's have some coffee. We'll get you some coffee.
All right. Then I'll stay awake for it. All right, we got much more coming your way, including the upset of the weekend. And it's a team that I dislike playing a team that I hate. Which one's going to win? Is it Philly? Is it New England? And it's our second year of Greg Jennings putting the team on his back. Dope. All right, interesting game between the Philadelphia Eagles, as they say in Philadelphia, and the New England Patriots Sunday afternoon. The real story here is the fact that it's Tom Brady Day out of Foxborough. Tom Brady will be honored. I suppose they're retiring his jersey and all the good stuff that comes with a legendary career. And then what's New England going to do? Are they going to hold on to the home field advantage and beat the Philadelphia Eagles? Or does Philly go into New England and ruin things for Tom Brady and announce again to the NFL, I don't care where we play, we're better than everybody else, and we're going to kick some tail?
We are them. No, I got the Patriots getting the job done, man. I think Bill Belichick, Mac Jones, you talk about the heavy dose of Ezekiel Elliott and Ramondre Stevenson. This offensive line, I know they're going through their injury woes, but I think Belichick is going to neutralize them with that great defense. So I'm excited to see the Patriots out with a W.
I was doing some research on New England and home openers under Belichick, and I stopped myself, and here's why. All the success was under Tom Brady. Right, so I can't, it's hard to divorce the two. Like, I want to come out and tell you, wow, the Patriots are 14-2 in home openers the last 16 years.
0-2 since Tom Brady left.
But it's like, it's still Bill Belichick, but number 12 ain't playing.
He'll be there, though.
He'll be in the building. Yeah. He's the best quarterback in that building, no due respect to Jalen Hurts. I can't give you a reason why New England wins this game. I can't tell you how. I can't.
That's honesty.
He's being honest. He's being honest. He's upset.
I'm panicking.
He said, I can't give you a reason why they're going to win.
I can't.
After 4 days of this.
Here's the thing. Sometimes you just have a gut feel on a game, and my gut's usually pretty good on these kinds of things. The Eagles' defense, their line especially, better, of course, than the Patriots' offensive line, all right? The Eagles' offense on the 2 great wide receivers, and it should be a renewed running game. And, of course, Jalen Hurts, probably better than a very good New England defense. So how in the world am I going to pick New England to win this game? Well, there's an answer for that.
No, there's not.
There's an answer for that.
No, there's not.
Rumble in the bumble right there.
Oh, no.
Listen, I don't like either franchise. As a Jet fan, I hate New England. As a New Yorker, I hate Philadelphia. But I can't get out of my head, as much as I dislike Bill Belichick, that, and maybe this is a passé thought, maybe it's not right anymore, maybe it's been retired, that he's got something. He's figured something out about the Eagles that none of us have figured out. and a way to slow them down, if not outright stop them.
Yeah, and no one last year was able to figure it out until the Super Bowl and Kansas City Chiefs. So for me, there is no reason you can give because this is not going to happen. They're not going to be upset by the New England quarterback.
Well, you still got to play the game, right?
Play the
Super
game.
Bowl hangover as well.
That's what we're leaning on now? Still got to play the game?
Well, you got to trust Belichick's going to have something in his back
I'm
pocket.
not saying that he won't. He definitely will have something, but will it be enough? Look, he can have a great, successful outing defensively, but are you telling me that you believe that because of his success offensively, it's going to be enough to just completely dismantle what we saw in the Philadelphia side of the ball, led by Jalen Hurts?
Only because we've seen him do it before. We've seen Bill Belichick take the best weapon you have, put him on ice. We've seen him out-coach the opposing coach. We've seen his defense play lights out, bend but don't break. You've played against him, I've played against him. We've also seen his offense pretty much 2 tight ends, and we're just going to pound you, dink and dunk. We've seen him do it against better opposition. So for me, I'm a believer in Belichick and what he's going to do against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Look, they do have a pretty good secondary. New England's got a good defense. Like they're not going to get blown out.
Good defense.
Yeah. So I mean, you're talking about a good defense, and there's a part of it. If you have to pay attention a little bit to historical actions in sports, and that is a team that loses the Super Bowl, and thinks very highly of themselves. They'll tell you that. You're showing up week 1 against a team that they think is inferior and maybe not taking them all that seriously because we're the Eagles. We're 14-3.
Who's
we're
saying
just
that?
fine.
Where are you hearing
You got a lot of big mouths on that Philadelphia Eagles team.
And who have we heard say this?
You got like Devontae Smith likes to talk. Brown likes to talk. They like to chirp. They're chirpers.
Craig, where do you have the Patriots finishing in the AFC East?
Dead last.
Oh, okay. And where do you have them in this contest on Sunday?
I have them beating Philadelphia.
Philadelphia went to the Super Bowl last year?
The same team that went to the Super Bowl, yeah.
And the reason is because of your
gut.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
great.
I had
I'll make sure we're on the same page.
Today, two egg breads.
Got it.
By the way, I will tell you this: New England under Bill Belichick is 17-6 in home openers, and to be fair, under Mac Jones, or without Brady, I should say, 1-2.
Yep. I think it's
let's write that down.
I think it was a Cam Newton quarterback
that
sneak.
one.
Yeah, I think it was a Cam Newton quarterback sneak on a 4th-and-1 that got him.
Well, listen, I tell you, a team that on Sunday afternoon is going to be watching the outcome of that Philadelphia New England game is going to be the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, they play Sunday night against the New York Giants, but they think they're going to beat Philadelphia. And remember, no team has repeated as NFC East divisional champions in like 20 years. So Dallas thinks will be the team that takes over for Philadelphia. Dak Prescott, of course, always under fire, finally spoke out about the negative narrative surrounding his career. Here's Dak Prescott.
Everybody has an opinion. My former teammate Chris Jones just said that. I read what he said about the opinions, and I feel the same. So for me, it's about focusing on what I can do, this team, the guys and the men that we have, and I can't control everybody's narrative, what they try to make something out to be. But as
Yeah, look, you can't control what anyone else has to say. It's why I always quote the late Eleanor Roosevelt. Other people's opinion of me are none of my business, right? Go out there and do your job. You like that?
Didn't
That's
expect
right.
that Eleanor Roosevelt quote.
Thank you.
I like that.
Thank you. That's right. I taught American history at the
She
college
probably didn't
level.
say that, but it sounds good. Yeah.
She did say it. That being said, he's right. Like, look, I'm a really good quarterback. Right, I happen to be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Like we all agreed to earlier this week, if Dak Prescott was the Jacksonville Jaguar quarterback, he's going into their ring of honor.
Statue.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's relative to what franchise you play for, what owner you play for. I would expect Dak Prescott, to have a good year. He's almost always had a good year. The question is, does he advance to having a great year? Is he now the reason the Cowboys offense flourishes? And that's the question mark. He's won 12 games in a season. He's thrown for 30 touchdowns in a season, and he's also led the league in interceptions. So from that standpoint, lock solid defense, depth at wide receiver, running back should be good, maybe not great with Pollard and Deuce Vaughn, but is Dak Prescott ready to be him? Is he going to carry the offense to great successes? And that starts against the Giants defense, so let's be fair. They have a couple legitimate stars and studs on that defense, but overall, you can throw deep against that Giant defense. He's going to have to.
And look, let's be like, I've been in locker rooms where you got to say all the right things, and I think defensively on that side of the ball, these guys on Dallas Cowboys roster, they're going to say all the right things, but their actions have shown us that they have questions. Like, they don't totally buy the whole Dak Prescott's going to be great. Yeah, they're going to say that. They're going to try to sell it.
Sure.
But they're looking at the same thing that we're looking at. Like, you got to show me. You got to show me that you're going to silence these doubters because we've done our part. You have to deliver on your side of the ball, and that's what he's not done in the moments that we've needed him to, in specifically the playoff games.
Really, when you guys are away from the stadium, away from the locker room, and you and the guys you're tightest with, they're hanging out with family, do you guys talk about that kind of thing? Like, man, I hope Dak shows up this year. Does that happen?
You talk about it, but I think to Greg's point, you still gotta produce, right? It doesn't matter what you say or how you feel about a guy. You still want him to go out there and put his best foot forward. But I like Dak's mindset as far as silencing the doubters because it's like punching against a wave. It's going to keep on coming. There's no way you're going to affect it. But I also think Dak at this point in his career has to realize there's no more talk. He has to produce, and he has to win the big ones, and he has to eventually win a Super Bowl to kind of put a cap on his season.
Look, he's had a good career. Yeah. Let's not act like he's some incompetent quarterback. You know, he's had a good career. He has not had a great career, and he hasn't had the postseason success. You know, after 8 years, no NFC Championship game appearances, only one home playoff win, only one road playoff win. At some point, especially now, because no one's going to dispute that the NFC is not as deep as the AFC. You've got two teams that are kind of over here in Philly, outside of them losing week 1, of course, and San Francisco. And then you've got, you know, Dallas, New Orleans, maybe the Giants. Only a handful of teams that can lay claim to being, you know, the David versus Goliath. So it's a very interesting game on Sunday night. I'm really excited that for the second year in a row, we have Greg Jennings here and a little segment we like to call, Yo, Greg Jennings, put the team on my back, dope.
When I put the team on my back, dog, he put the team on his back. Josh Allen, let's go. When it's my segment, you're not going to tell me what I can and cannot do. Dog, let's go inside the mind of a Greg Jennings.
All right, Greg, I'm going to give you a couple random matchups for week 1. You take it away. You good for that?
I'm good for it.
All right, let's go. Big divisional game. We talked about it a little bit with Joe Burrow signing. Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson, Bengals, Browns. Pick a side, pick a guy, pick a unit. Who's got to put the team on their back?
Well, I'm going with the Bengals in this game, and one of the reasons why is because of this new look offensive line. But if you've been following this rivalry, the Bengals have not fared well against the Cleveland Browns. They're 1-5 in the Joe Burrow era, and largely in part because of the struggles of this offensive line. Over those 6 games, 23 sacks, 43 QB hits, and 24 TFLs. Look, you're going to be facing against Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith. Like, these guys are going to come with everything that they have. This is why you go out and you retract Orlando Brown Jr. from the defending Super Bowl champions. You go and you switch your guy Jonah Williams and you put him at right tackle after a knee surgery because you want to shore up what you have up front. You cannot be the reason why this $275 million man is not upright doing what he does best, finding Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and others and winning you football games. So, the Bengals, your offensive line, I believe in you. Put the team on your back.
Last year they were.
He put the team on his back.
There you go. Last year they were 10-0 when they gave up 2 or fewer sacks in a game. All right, game number 2, interconference game. Pittsburgh Steelers against the San Francisco 49ers.
This one is easy for me, big baby. Look, George Pickens, it is time. The self-proclaimed best wide receiver in the world. In the world, Craig. In the world. Look, I need to see it. I believe that you can be all that you're talking about being. But this is the time where we've seen you make plays in practice, the spectacular catches on game day and in practice. We've surfaced them all over the internet. We see you doing all these things every so often. But can you do it consistently against a team that's coming in with the highest paid defensive player in the game? Like, their issue is in the secondary. So where does that leave us? George, you got to make plays. Put the team on your back. Go be special.
He put the team on his
you're
back.
100% correct. Especially because Kenny Pickett will be under duress by Bosa, right? Bosa is going to show the world why I'm worth the money I just received. So if you're Kenny Pickens and George Pickens, we got to be together like P&J, baby.
Yes.
We got to eat.
PB&J.
Pickens just came out. He's like, I look forward to the season. I'm gonna make a lot of great catches.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make the regular catches too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make all the
If I'm
catches.
Kenny Pickett, I just go like this. Where's George at? Throw the ball just like that. All right, game number 3. Packers and Bears. And who is your guy? Go.
This one is an interesting one for me because I got a little bit of history here. So I'm going with the Packers in this game. And this is a guy that we didn't see him last year because of injury, and that's Rashawn Gary.
Ooh.
Like, I get it, Packer fans. Look, he's gonna be on the pitch count. Totally understand. But you get your emotional leader back. Him being in uniform, on the sideline, on the road, against a division rival, the Bears, being able to look to your right or your left and say, Deshaun, go make a play. That is why you have a guy like this on your roster. Him being there, allowing other guys to be even special. Preston Smith, you know what Justin Fields is hoping to be? He can't be that come Sunday because of Rashawn Gary. Put the team on your back, my guy.
You look at it.
He put the team on his back.
Picking a linebacker to put the team on his back. That's a lot of weight for a linebacker to carry.
He can carry it.
Yeah, against the Chicago Bears. This is an interesting AFC matchup I want to get your take on because, of course, I have an interest in this game as a Jet fan. It's Tua and the Miami Dolphins against Justin Herbert and, of course, the LA Chargers. I'm not going to let you pick either one of those two guys. Who in this game has to put the team on his back?
A lot of offensive firepower in this game on both sides of the ball. But I'm going defense again.
Oh.
Bradley Chubb, I need to see you. You're reunited with Vic Fangio. When you came over last year, the last 8 games, you really didn't look that great. But this is a new year, and we know what we're going to get on the offensive side of the ball. But do we know what we're going to get defensively? You have an opportunity to impact this game for the better for your team. You got to be special. Again, you're reuniting with the guy that put you in a situation where you were successful rushing the passer. Well, you got one that you got to bring down. He's going to throw the ball all around the yard. Go get him. Put the team on your back. Bradley Chubb, another defensive guy.
Bradley Chubb?
Dog. He put the team on his back.
Remember when Miami acquired him from Denver, that was supposed to be a big deal to shore up that Dolphin defense. And while he was good, there's expectations that they're great.
A lot of the attention is going to that secondary, obviously, because of Jalen Ramsey and what he was going to provide. He going down. Now you gotta focus on that front 4.
And the goal is can he get after Justin Herbert? Because you know Herbert's going to be lights out. He's going to be ready to go, especially with that big, tall receiving core there.
Yes,
He's going to have to collapse that pocket and get after Herbert.
Let me give you one more. We have time to squeeze one more in. Sunday night, New York Giants, Dallas Cowboys. You can't say Danny Jones. And to be fair, you can't say Dak Prescott. So which guy in this game is going to put the team on his back, dope?
I got Danny Jones right here over my shoulder looking at me like, who you going to pick? You know what? Let's go, Darren Waller.
Yeah,
Darren Waller in the building. Look, we've heard all offseason about the impact that he's made, the relationship, the chemistry that he and Daniel Jones have already established. It has to come to fruition. It has to manifest Sunday night against the Dallas Cowboys. I believe in you, Danny Dimes. I believe in you, Darren Waller. Be special. Put the team on your back, though.
Is there any concern that Darren Waller will be tired before the game?
He may be tired, but he's healthy, and we haven't seen a healthy Darren Waller in a long time.
The reason I bring that up, the reason Darren Waller wears number 12 now, he's a self-admitted addict.
Yep.
And he lives his life by the 12-step process, which I have total respect for that he's sharing the story. But in an interview on a podcast the other day, I'm just keeping it out there.
Yeah.
I think it's great that he's open about it. More people need to be. He said that he traded in his addiction for booze and drugs and those types of things for self-pleasure and shopping.
He did.
So I just want to make sure he ain't tired before the game. That's all I just want to make sure.
It'll be all right.
You can lose your legs doing that.
Yeah, I do it after the show.
Yes, keep your hands off.
But more power to Darren Waller.
Go to break. Go to break. Go to break,
More
Mr.
of us
Carton.
need to be open about mental health issues.
Go to break. Go to
Darren
break.
Waller put the team on
if I
your
see
back,
Darren
man.
Waller
He put the
You gotta
team
work
on
on
his
your own
back.
mental health issues.
if I see Darren Waller taking a nap, I'm gonna know why.
Oh yeah. I just keep your hands after I admit it. I think you hit the treadmill, you eat a sandwich.
Oh boy.
Oh my goodness.
Where we got much
Waller's going to run into the tunnel. I don't know if he's injured or.
We got much more coming your way, including some big season predictions right after this.
Wow.
As we head into week one, we all are planning for our big Sunday night viewing experience, whether you go to a bar, whether you're home, whether you're with some friends.
Yeah.
We all circle certain games and certain aspects that we're really looking forward to
Yeah, we
watching.
do.
So we're going to go around and we're all going to say what game, what person, what are we focused on with this week one slate. We'll start with you, Mr. Carton.
One caveat to that, I'm not going to say the Jets, obviously, because it's Monday night.
Yeah, it's Monday night.
And I'm a diehard Jet fan. That'd be too easy. It's a cop-out if I go, ooh, the Jets,
That's
right?
what Monday's show is for.
Yeah, we'll do that on Monday. So the game I'm looking forward to, I'm really intrigued by the Cleveland Browns this year because I'm of the belief, and maybe I'm alone in this belief, that if we get the Houston Texan version of Deshaun Watson, you are talking about a Super Bowl contender this year. They have as good a defense as anybody not named the New York Jets. They have a legit running back in Nick Chubb. They've got depth at wide receiver, a really good offensive line, a solid tight end, and they may have found a legitimate franchise quarterback. And it's not so much that it's like, a young draft pick that we think one day is going to be great. We've seen him be great. So the only question mark I have is are we getting the Deshaun Watson of 3 years ago, or are we getting the rusty Deshaun Watson we got for 6 games last week? I am of the belief that we are going to get the rock star, NFL MVP candidate, Deshaun Watson. And in saying that, I believe the Cleveland Browns announced themselves to the rest of the AFC by beating the Cincinnati Bengals at home. The spread in this game is only 1.5, which tells you a lot about what people think about the Cleveland Browns. And I think it is time for the old mistake by the lake to become a powerhouse in the NFL and a team that nobody wants on their schedule.
This is like the Cowboys-Giants. The spread is what it is because of the history of what they know Joe Burrow hasn't been able to do against this team. Like, he hasn't been able to win. I just laid out all the reasons why. But I get the intrigue with Deshaun Watson because if he can't be that guy, which he says he's even elevated himself even beyond that, what he was in Houston, this team can be very
Look at this real quick. We talked about, are you a team that's a quarterback away, right? The Jets thought they were a quarterback away. And the other teams historically, we've talked about Tampa, Denver with Peyton Manning. I can make the argument that Cleveland is a quarterback away. And I think they might have the quarterback. And if he's that good, Cleveland's a problem.
Yeah, they had Jacoby Brissett last year.
Yeah.
No disrespect to the homie, but
He was no Jacoby slander. No Jacoby slander.
He's not Deshaun Watson. And Deshaun Watson has a clear offseason where a lot of the mess is behind him. He has this offense where he can work through all summer and season, so I'm excited to see him.
I just can't shake how bad he looked last year. I understand why he sat out for so long. But he had 6 games of work, and it did not look good. I think we're going to find out very early week one what Deshaun Watson going to get this season. What do you have circled for Sunday slate?
So I know I may be a homer here, but I have the Niners versus my Steelers, man. So much is talked about this Niners offense, right? Christian McCaffrey, you got Deebo Samuel, you got Brock Purdy, but we got weapons too. We got George Pickens. We all have Darnell Washington, the big tight end out of Georgia. We also have Allen Robinson, and Najee Harris, and a Kenny Pickett. So I'm excited to see the Steelers offense light it up. I thought the Steelers general manager, Omar Khan, who I got a lot of respect for, did a great job of really recognizing the Steelers' weaknesses and addressing them during the offseason. I think they're going to be a phenomenal. We know about both sides of the ball as far as defense. Our defense is going to be good. Niners' defense is going to be lights out, especially with Bosa coming to town. But I think the Steelers' offense is going to make a way. They're going to have an immediate impact. I got the Steelers winning, beating the Niners.
Look, if they make that statement and come out of the gate and beat a team that everyone's got pegged for an NFC Championship game or better, then you're on notice. which is why I think we all agree the AFC North has the chance to be the deepest and most dominant division in football. That'd be a huge statement to make for a second-year quarterback going up against that defense and Bosa, obviously, to pull off that W.
Greg Jennings, you saw the Sunday slate. You've been preparing for this for months. What are you looking forward to watching on Sunday?
Oh, you know what? I'm going to be a homer, too. I'm going with Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. Look, Jordan Love, I just want to see, can he be steady? I don't need to compare you to Aaron Rodgers. That's going to be done by everybody that's going to be in the stands in Chicago. However, can you be steady? Can you just hold on and manage the game for now and not be the reason why the Green Bay Packers go into Soldier Field and take an L? Look, we've owned the Bears. They've talked trash. We know what Justin Fields can do from his legs. Can he throw the ball? Can you be the best quarterback on the field? That will be the question. The defense, I believe that they will be a lot better and more improved, better than the defense that we anticipated them to even be last season. So can you be that guy with these young receiving cores and just move that ball down the field methodically?
It's funny. I view this game the way I view a lot of the games that the rookie quarterbacks are playing in. We don't know what Anthony Richardson's going to do, a divisional game out of the gate. What's Bryce Young going to do first game? Although he's not a rookie, we really have no idea
who he is.
Right? We've seen him a little taste in a couple games last year. He looked very competent, but we didn't see him at all this preseason in reality. And the biggest question mark, the biggest unknown, is what you said, Jordan Love. If Jordan Love is even like a tenth as good as what the Packers front office think he is, then all of a sudden Green Bay just keeps rolling right along and maybe even wins that division, which is I know getting ahead of myself. But that's the only question mark for me. I know what Justin Fields is. Let's see Justin Fields with some weapons now and a little bit better offensive line, throwing the ball more than running for his life. But I don't think any of us can sit here and tell you what the expectation is for Jordan Love because we've just never seen it.
So, Greg, with Christian Watson potentially not being available, how much does that affect what they're trying to do in Jordan Love's performance?
So, honestly, I don't think it impacts them that much because they're going to lead with their running game. A lot of what the Green Bay Packers do, they want to make everything look the same. So their run game, pass game, they want to marry it all. And so he's going to have opportunities when you think about Aaron Jones and what he provides and A.J. Dillon, what he's provided. They're going to make that action look the same, get those linebackers to flow up like we kind of saw last night, and he's going to be able to hit those receivers. Jaden Reed, keep an eye out on him.
I think they did say that Bakhtiari is going to play because he was questionable. And Romeo Doubs, I think, was questionable for this game as well. And it looks like he's going to play. But Watson, with that hamstring, did not practice yesterday. So he's doubtful to play this Sunday. Now, we answered the question, Jacoby. We got to put you on the spot.
Yeah. When I saw the schedule come out, I said to myself, these two teams in the AFC are not at the top of the conference, the top tier, but they're ready to make the leap. They both made the playoffs last year, but one of them needs to make the leap and win a couple playoff games, and that is the game between the Chargers and the Dolphins. That is what I'm really looking at because these two teams, while they're not in the same division, they're kind of at the same level in the conference, and this is a matchup of two different football philosophies, and I'm looking forward to see who prevails, and I want to see Tua.
And listen, this is always going to be the story when these two teams play. The decision that was made to draft Tua and not Justin Herbert.
Exactly.
Right, and they're not going to play all the time, but anytime these two teams match up, it's always going to be Miami screwed up. They could have gotten Justin Herbert, and now they're just faking the funk, talking about how much they think they made the right decision.
And Tua knows that.
Of course.
Tua knows that going into the game.
Yeah.
He knows that, and they have so much time to prepare. I love Mike McDaniel's offensive brain. I just like to watch this to see how these two offenses operate.
I'm going to add a little wrinkle to this real quick before we take a break. Of the rookie quarterbacks, just top of your head, which rookie quarterback has the best Sunday afternoon? And go.
C.J. Stroud.
Bang, go.
I got Richardson.
And go.
Richardson.
I like C.J. Stroud. We got much more coming your way, including your late show headlines. And that is, of course, Joe Burrow's massive contract and the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs thought they could just show up and beat the Detroit Lions. Well, guess what? There's a new sheriff in town, and it's not Andy Reid.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Carton Show. We have your headlines. Nothing is bigger in sports than the game last night. Week 1 is here, and so are the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, they are.
They beat the Chiefs. 21-2, 21-20. Craig Carton.
Yeah, hi.
Is this more about the success of the Lions, which we barely touched on in the last 2 hours, or about the Chiefs and what they did not do?
This just seemed like a weird thing to say. The Chiefs lost the game. The Lions didn't win it. And I respect Dan Campbell after the game talking about the resiliency of the Detroit Lions. Kansas City did everything they could to lose the game, and they lost the game, starting off with drops. Kadarius Toney, Mr. Big Mouth himself, whose hands got hacked like his Instagram account in last night's game. 4 drops. And every one of those drops was going to be for a minimum of a first down, if not for a touchdown, right? So you start with that. Guys getting wide open, guys dropping the ball. McKinnon dropped the ball. Rice dropped the ball. Kadarius Toney had 4 drops in this game. These guys had opportunities to step up in the absence of Travis Kelce and create real big problems in the future if you can count on them. Now, you can't count on them in the moment. And that's a real problem. So as we kind of dissect this game for last night, let's go one at a time and just start off with the drops. What's interesting about it is that if you told me that the Kansas City wide receivers weren't getting open, and you're talking about contested passes, and the Lions secondary just did a good job, that's one thing. Then I have concerns about Kansas City's ability to score. But that's not the case. Every one of these drops is a pass in stride, in the breadbasket, to a wide open wide receiver. So I don't think it's time to panic. But if you're Kansas City and that guy you know is ticked off, Patrick Mahomes, because I did everything I was supposed to do. I hit the open man in stride to go get a first down or score a touchdown. Who can I count on? Well, look, Travis Kelce comes back in week 2 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But let's start with the performance of those wide receivers.
On top of that, a lot of these highlights, you see Patrick Mahomes throwing the receivers open. And that was tough, right? Like, Valley, he was under the rest. I thought the offensive line was going to play a lot better. That didn't happen. But you talk about not having, you said the Lions didn't win the game. You got to give credit to the defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn, a former Jet, by the way.
Yep.
He threw the kitchen sink at Mahomes, and Mahomes still did enough to win the game. The receivers let him down. I get that, but if you're Patrick Mahomes, you got to continue to pump faith, give them love, show them that they're worthy of being out there on the same field.
All right, now let's talk about the Chiefs' defense. No Chris Jones, although he was in the building, which I thought was a horrendous look and disrespectful to his teammates, showing up for the game and sitting there and being on camera right there during the game for the unveiling of the Super Bowl banner. He blew off the ring ceremony because of the contract holdout, but showed up for the home opener, and he's not wearing pads and helmet. So I thought that was a bad look. How did it impact them, Greg? Well, Detroit's trying to run out the clock. Detroit needs a first down to end the game. You know they're going to hand the ball off. You know Montgomery's going to get the ball. He got it on first down. He got it on second down. He's going to get it on third down. And who's not in the middle of that defensive line to make a stop to give Patrick Mahomes one more opportunity to go down the field and kick a field goal and win the game? Chris Jones.
Yeah, they clearly miss Chris Jones. I thought their defensive line and their front seven, I thought they played really well in the absence of Chris Jones. So they look promising. However, you miss a guy like that when you expect the team to run. And you said this leading into this game all along. Chris Jones, where he's most impactful, is in the fourth quarter when the game is on the line. When your opponent has to either pass and or run, you know you have a guy in the middle that's going to wreak havoc on opposing offensive line.
All right, now I want to talk about coaching in this game. I want to start with Dan Campbell. Second series of the game after going 3 and out, listless offense, didn't get anything cooking. They're about to go 3 and out again. And you know what happens with that? Kansas City maybe takes control of the game with a quick score. And Dan Campbell decides to go for a fake punt on his own 20-ish yard line, right? And they convert the 4th and short. They go all the way down the field, and they score the first touchdown of the game. Ballsy play. If it doesn't work, we criticize it, to be fair. But it did work, so you get credit for it. Now flip the script. Andy Reid is a great coach. He's a Hall of Fame coach. But even back in Philadelphia, there were times, ask Eagle fans, where he got a little too cute. I think that happened yesterday. I'll start you off out of order, but I want to start you off with the 4th and 25. 4th and 20, they get a motion called, 5-yard penalty. 4th and 25, stop it there. You've got 2:09 on the clock. You have all 3 timeouts, so you can stop the clock effectively 4 times. First down's going to take them to the 2-minute warning, meaning you stop it on second down and third down. You save a timeout for your ensuing possession rather than punt and use your timeouts against the Lions offense. They run this play, and I give Mahomes credit. He made, chicken salad, chicken poop, and threw a perfect pass for a first down. The wide receiver drops the ball. But why are we going for it on 4th and 25?
One thing you have to recognize is they are in field goal range if they don't make this. So what you're saying is we have to stop them regardless. Let's give ourselves a chance to get the first down before we stop them because we need to stop them with our timeouts. However, if you stop them and you don't get the fourth down and you stop them, they kick a field goal. Now you're down 4, and instead of having to get a field goal to win the game, you have to get a touchdown. This only makes sense if you're down like 4 points or 3 points.
It didn't make any sense
down 1,
at
it makes
all.
no sense.
And then let me go to what happened 5 minutes or 3 minutes before that. So 5 minutes and change to go. And they have a 3rd and 1. On second down, Pacheco ran for about 3 yards. So now big part of the game. You're losing by a point. It is 3rd and 1. Don't play it just yet. To me, it's obvious. If Pacheco is good, as everyone's been telling me its entire offseason, don't talk about it being a 7th-round draft pick out of Rutgers. You're always hating on the kid. They didn't need to get Dalvin Cook. They didn't need Jonathan Taylor. They got a rock star running back in Isaiah Pacheco. Okay, I want to buy that argument, right? So 3rd and 1, game on the line. To me, you have 2 choices. You either hand the ball off to this running back who's a rock star, right? Or how dare I even think about this? Maybe I put the ball in the hands of the best player in the NFL. He's going to get a yard every single time. Again, Andy Reid decides to do neither of those, calls a Rashee Rice jet sweep. You got the entire Detroit Lions defense on the line of scrimmage, and they lose 3 yards, and they punt. Bad coaching.
Yeah, this is frustrating if you're Pacheco. This is even more frustrating if you're Patrick Mahomes. Just keep the ball in my hands and allow me to dictate what we do offensively. And I think this is when Andy Reid, what we see him do so often, all these cute formations and variations, when they are successful, we praise him. When they don't work, this is what we get. You get a team that has now an opportunity to do something that I believe they deserve to get, which is a win in the Detroit Lions.
Now, real quick, before you go, show that video one more time if you guys can, because I want Willie to comment on the highlight here, on the Rice run. Stop it, right? Why would you run a jet sweep to the short side of the field?
Or even one better, why would you have your tight end take a direct snap in that position too?
Right, because if your quarterback's under center, that ball gets snapped and it's an offside automatic first down, guaranteed.
Right, so they took the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hand, they snap it to a tight end, they hand it off to an unproven wide receiver, and it backfires. So all these little things add up to why the Kansas City Chiefs didn't do what they've done every other year of Patty Mahomes' career, and that is win the home opener. Undefeated. 18 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions. Well, now he's got 1. Not his fault, of course. It was a rint. It wasn't on him. Kadarius Toney dropped the ball.
Another thing about that play, if we can play this again.
Which one do you want?
The last play.
Okay, the jet sweep?
The jet sweep.
Go ahead.
A tight end under center. You're an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Pause it, guys. Don't run the play just yet. Let him talk through.
Defenses are smart. You see every player on the Detroit Lions defense in the box pretty much.
Yep.
Why? Because a tight end's under center. Well, he's not dropping back to throw it.
Exactly, yeah.
I was thinking sneak. When I saw it, I was like, oh, they're going to sneak.
He's
They put a
not
tight end
dropping
there.
back to
That's what I thought.
I thought this is kind of smart. Get a big guy there and just try to push forward. Yeah.
Yeah, this again, I call it the hubris of Andy Reid. There are times historically where he gets a little too cute for his own good. And you're right, when the tight end jumps in under center, they're either going to push him forward and try to get
that's
the
it. That's all you're going to do.
Or
that's it.
That, right?
Look at the. I don't know if we showed again. Look at the D line of the Lions. They're shooting out of their cleat.
Yeah,
they're not even worrying about pass. They just know. Watch the nose. I'm getting out of here.
But I'll tell you another thing. Greg also makes a great point. The nose tackle right there, I don't know his name right there. He's offsides if Patrick Mahomes is under center.
Correct.
And now you got the 5 yards first down, and now you're driving under 5 minutes to go with a chance to maybe even score a touchdown, not to mention just a field goal to take the lead. So it was a little comedy of errors on the Kansas City side from a standpoint of drop balls all over the field. Like we're focusing on Kadarius Toney. McKinnon had a drop. Rice had a drop. and there's Travis Kelce on the sideline. And to be fair, when his contract comes up, he just shows you that film. Because the Kansas City Chiefs are 1-0 if Travis Kelce plays. And I guarantee you Mahomes had a little talk with Travis about getting back on the field for the game against Jacksonville. Now, let's go to the other side, to be fair. Because it's not just what Kansas City did. We do have to show some respect to the Detroit Lions, right?
Yeah. Not just some.
Yeah.
A lot.
Oh, no.
Like, even though Kansas City did everything in their power not to win the game, Detroit still had to make plays. And one of the biggest plays for me, I know you're going to see the Montgomery touchdown there. That's great and all. It's getting the first down on 3rd and short. What did they do? They said, we got a guy we believe in. You know we're running the ball. We've run it every down of this series. We're going to run it again. And oh, by the way, we know Chris Jones isn't there to clog up the middle against an obvious run. And their offensive line on that 1 down got the 2 yards they needed to wrap the game up and work out the clock and take a knee the rest of the way. And that's the difference between, coaching crazy, taking chances, and just giving the ball to your best option to get 2 yards.
Yeah, so for me, when I looked at this game, it was like, okay, are the Detroit Lions going to revert back to who they've always been and find a way to still lose this game? And so I look at this game, and there was a play that C.J. Gardner-Johnson makes on that 4th down and 20 possession that we've been alluded to. I believe it was 3rd and 20. Prior to that, Sky Moore has a route. He's wide open. Patrick Mahomes hits him. He catches it, but C.J. Gardner-Johnson dives and punches it out. If he's not there, this is not a play that we were seeing them make last year. They were giving up on plays like that. They believe that they're going to always be in position to be successful and make plays for their defense.
And let me just say it's that you and I, the 4 of us, talked yesterday on the show that the Detroit Lions were now at a place in their evolution of becoming a good team where enough with the moral victories. Like the Robert Saleh quote from Hard Knocks. I don't want to be told, hey, you guys played really hard. You'll get them eventually. Nonsense. These are the games that good teams find a way to win. Bad teams, historically the Lions, the Jets, find a way to lose. You're dead right. We're all kind of waiting for, okay, here comes the Mahomes magic. Detroit's going to make a mistake. They're going to go down and kick a field goal. Kansas City's going to escape with a 2-point win. And we're all going to laud the great Patrick Mahomes and try to figure out why losing is still in the Lions' DNA. So that went different yesterday. And if you're a Lions fan, congrats. What a great way to start the season.
One name I want to say is Aiden Hutchinson.
Because
he's the number 2 pick from last year. He had a kind of a slow start, and everyone talks about sacks, the sack numbers. You know what? Didn't get a sack. But he's always in the backfield. He's either getting a double team or he's flushing someone out of the pocket. Aiden Hutchinson, impact on the game is not quantifiable, but it's on every play.
Jacoby, you're 100% correct. We also got to notice, he was matched up against the Chiefs' best. Trey Smith is a damn good offensive guard. Those tackles were under duress. What he did was what Chris Jones is known to do: collapse the pocket, make the quarterback throw fast, just harass. He harassed Patrick Mahomes the whole night to the point where Patrick Mahomes was looking at the offensive line like, what are we doing? Like, I can't get this guy away from me. He was an absolute gnat flying around his head. And what I loved about Aiden Hutchinson, too, was it was his hustle, man.
Yes.
His hustle showed up.
He had like 3 spin moves on one possession.
But it goes back to the secondary. When you see a guy like that hunting for the quarterback, what does that do for you in the DB, man? That makes you hold a little tighter. That makes you stick because you know he's going to get home eventually. So now that frustrates the route running. So Aiden Hutchinson, man, we talk about Bosa, we talk about the TJ Watts. Watch out for this young fella.
And the big star of last night's game was his mom.
All right, now it's time to move on. We're going to our second headline, and that is some news that dropped right before the game. Right before Week 1 started in the NFL, this news dropped, and that is Joe Burrow got paid. Signed a 5-year up to $275 million American dollars. It's 219 guaranteed. Now, Craig, we've had some time to digest this deal.
Yes.
What does it say to you about what the Bengals are doing, where they're moving, and how they're going to put
It's
pieces around
actually
it?
a rare move for the Bengals franchise. They are notoriously cheap.
Good point.
The Mike Brown and his family do not go out there and spend money on football, players or facilities. Historically, they just don't. But it's an acknowledgement and a recognition that the kid is special. That when that kid is healthy and on the field, we have a chance to win every single game. And they're right, he's that good. So, you have a rabid fan base in Cincinnati that has been dying for an opportunity to win a Super Bowl. They've been to 3. They haven't won any Super Bowls, obviously. And now the question is, are they committed to the quarterback? They are. And they showed that by stroking a pen. The interesting thing to me is the patience of waiting. When you're a young kid, you're in your mid-20s, you guys became millionaires in your 20s. Some kids can, can figure that out. Some kids, it's too much for them. And this is this is generational wealth money, right? So as a 24 or 5-year-old, when the other quarterbacks are getting paid gazillions of dollars, to have the patience to wait to go last, knowing that you're going to get the most, but your injury risk might also kill that opportunity, says a lot about the kind of kid Joe Burrow is. And my only question now is, how do they keep the core together? Because Joe Burrow, as good as he is not a miracle maker. Part of the reason he is so good is that he's got the wide receiving core that he's got, starting with Jamar Chase. But they are going to be very, very good in this little 3 to 5 year window where they're young, they're in their 20s, they're all together, and they're very good. But remember, as good as they are, the North has gotten better. The AFC has gotten better. And if you learned anything about the Buffalo Bills last year not getting to the AFC Championship game, it's the reality that it closes like that. So when you have a really good team that's good enough to win, you better go win.
Yeah, I think it also shows good faith by the organization to pay him, because he has been riddled with injuries throughout his career. Yes, he's gone the distance, so to speak, but nevertheless, man, he's been banged up and nicked. They got him a new ramped offensive line. They got him more pieces. He's been banged up, and now they said, man, we trust you. We believe in you. Now you just got to go out and do the damn thing.
It is funny that when guys, when talk about, I'm going to take less for the good of the team. The only guy I know that's ever truly done that is now Aaron Rodgers, that took a $36 million pay cut to help the Jets go out, get guys like Dalvin Cook. And throughout his career, Tom Brady. How many guys at that level say, I'll do what's good for the franchise and I'll take less? That ain't the norm. And Joe Burrow didn't have to do it, and he didn't do it.
I just want to be clear. Aaron Rodgers had like $106 million in 1 year coming to him.
That's
I mean, of course he's going to restructure that contract. That contract, little Fugazi coming into it.
He didn't have to,
but
he could have said,
hey, give me my $106 million.
He could have said, hey, you think I'm the savior? I'm going to turn the fortunes of a franchise around? Give me $100 million. He had the right to say that.
You touched on the point about the Brown family and them not being
they're frugal
big spenders.
Yeah, big spenders.
Yeah.
Well, when you look at this wide receiver core, you got 2 of the best in the game. They're next. And yes, you got your quarterback taken care of, and he is well deserving. But these 2 young men, T. Higgins being up first and Jamar Chase obviously being eligible for an extension after this season, you are going to have to make a decision. Because can you keep both of them? Is it possible and plausible? Yes, you can. You can find a way to do it. But will you? Are you willing to pay one of these guys more, or just break this up and allow Joe Burrow, your quarterback, to only operate with now one of them? That's the big decision that's going to be made now that you paid your quarterback.
Like the Brown family sleeps on stacks of hundies, so they can afford it. And when you look at San Francisco, they have proven you can. Whether it's Samuel, McCaffrey,
different situation.
I know the quarterback being paid. I get it.
Completely different situation because they're not tied to a quarterback that's making that type of money.
They're paying a defensive end like a quarterback.
So it's different.
There's one thing about Joe Burrow in this upcoming game that we need to sort of sort out amongst the 4 of us.
They play the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, and for some reason, this side of the desk feels like Joe Burrow is not going to play in that football game.
That's right.
And much like your pick of the Patriots over the Eagles, there's no reasoning behind this.
There is on this one.
What is it?
The reason is Joe Burrow's own words.
He said, I'm ready to go. Those are his words.
It's the rest of it. It's very simple. Joe, are you playing Sunday against the Cleveland Browns?
Yes, I'm ready to go.
Yes. He didn't say that.
No.
He said, I feel like I'm ready to go, but we'll see how the next couple days go. And he was shifty-eyed, and his shoulders were moving, and he's got bad tells.
His shoulders are moving, Greg. His shoulders are moving, so he's obviously not playing.
It's so simple.
You can't move your shoulders and then play on Sunday. Yeah,
are you working on first things first this afternoon?
There's a possibility. Likelihood of me being there.
We'll see how the next hours go. We'll see how the next couple hours go. We'll see how lunch goes.
I want to be there.
Why were you looking at flights out of Newark?
I'm ready to be on first things first, but we got to see how this ends up.
I'm not guaranteeing he's not going to play, but I also am very good at reading body language and the way guys talk. And it's so simple. Are you playing on Sunday?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yeah, that's it.
It's not, I'm ready to play, but we'll see how the next two games
how I
go.
feel.
One of my friends would be like, I heard Joe Burrow's not playing. How'd you hear that?
Yeah.
On the Carton Show, Craig said, oh, why did he say that? Because he knows how guys talk. He knows how guys talk.
I
And
do.
so Joe Burrow's obviously not playing.
I majored in it in college.
Yeah.
I'm a guy. It's called Guys Guy.
You are a guy's
guy. Yeah. Syracuse Alverson has a major.
Moving on to our final headline, and that is the big game Sunday night in New Jersey between the Giants and the Cowboys. Dak Prescott, we all know the pressure that comes with being the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, but he is also under the pressure of looking to get an extension on his contract next summer. Is this a make or break year for Dak Prescott, Craig Carton?
No, it's not make or break. He's already made over $100 million, and he's got $60 million coming to him next year, no matter what he does. So I don't think it's make or break. I think it's a legacy year for him. He's going to go down right now as a good quarterback. Dak Prescott was a good quarterback, right? 4th round draft pick, whatever he was, good quarterback, but not good enough to get the Cowboys over the hump and bring them back to Super Bowl glory. Obviously, if he does that, it changes the whole narrative of him, and he does get the 5-year extension for buku bucks. I'm trying to figure out, though, the Giants side of this game. I know the Dak Prescott side of it, and my expectation is that he throws a couple touchdowns and an interception, and it's not the reason they win or lose the game, because I don't know what the Giants are. I have never seen Daniel Jones with actual weapons. Is Danny Jones a 15-touchdown quarterback, or is he a 35-touchdown quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. And that, to me, is the intrigue of this game. But I can't pick the Giants until I see what Daniel Jones really is.
Yeah, I think we're all waiting to see if he's truly the heir apparent of Eli, right? Like, there was so much to him talking about when he's
paid like it.
He's paid like Eli, but can he win a significant win? He did last year on the road. Can he take him a little further, and can he possibly bring home a Super Bowl? That's what we need to see.
All right, we got much more coming up. Another thought or two on last night's season opener between the Lions and the Chiefs. The guys will give you their award-winning guaranteed locks of week 1. And much more coming up football-wise right after this. And how about the Kansas City Chiefs last night with a little case of the drops? Kadarius Toney had 1 drop. Kadarius Toney had 2 drops. Kadarius Toney had 3 drops. Kadarius Toney had 4 drops. Only 1 reception for 1 lousy yard. So after the game, Patty Mahomes was asked, do you still trust Kadarius Toney?
No. Stuff's not always going to go your way. Obviously, he would have wanted to catch a few of those in the game, but I've trusted he's going to be that guy that I go to in those crucial moments, and he's going to make the catch and win us some seasons like he did last year. So we're going to continue to work him in, get him more and more reps, and I'm sure that those drops will kind of disappear.
Yeah, the only people happier than people that wagered on the Lions yesterday were Detroit, New York Giants fans who were sick and tired of Kadarius Toney for a lot of things he's had to say. But look, if I'm Patrick Mahomes, I got to be frustrated because I knew Detroit was going to give me a fight. I respect what Detroit does, but I made enough plays to put us in position to have a chance to win the game.
Yeah, you're frustrated, but he's exactly right. I'm going to need these guys throughout the course of the season. And he made a point. He said he's going to win us games. Like, that is real. We saw it last year with Aaron Rodgers and Christian Watson. First play of the game against the Minnesota Vikings. He drops a pass. He never has thrown another opportunity. It impacted him. And when you look at a guy, I've played receiver. I've had these types of games where you just want to forget about it. And it just happens. He's not been a guy that we've seen drop a ton of balls in one game. And I don't think that's going to be who this core is. But Travis Kelce was missed clearly.
Yeah, and I will say this. I want to give the Chiefs defense a little bit of credit here. Obviously they get 7 points on the turnover on the interception, which went right through Kadarius Toney's hands. So in reality, the Chiefs defense gave up 14 points to an offense that in the second half of last year was averaging almost 30 points a game and is supposed to be better this year. So give the Chiefs defense credit.
Yeah.
Except, however, for the end of the game where Montgomery's going to run the ball, where he's going to run the ball, and you couldn't stop him from getting that first down that effectively ended the game.
Well, that's the big offensive line.
Yeah, talk about your boys.
We're going to win this game. I'm going to tell you, because when you start a game like this, there was so much talk about, well, the Chiefs that don't have Chris Jones, yada, yada, yada. This offensive line said, listen, we're going to win this, put it on our back.
Yeah.
Greg's been on the sideline. What happens 5 minutes? The offensive coordinator hands the ball over the offensive line. Hey, bring it home for us, big
Let's
fellas.
go.
And they rode that way right into the end zone. So that's what happened.
And all the things I've been saying this offseason, that sometimes you rely on the talent of Patrick Mahomes almost too much. They did not go out there and upgrade the running back position because they all thought Pacheco was going to be a rock star this year. He did not have a good game. He actually led them in receiving catches with 4, which is also a problem for that offense. They didn't need a wide receiver to complement the other guys on the team. That was a problem yesterday as well. And now they've got 10 days to get ready for the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And you have to hope at this point that Kelsey comes back, but that ain't going to be easy.
So the season started last night officially, but as we head into Sunday, week 1, what I want from each of you is not a week 1 prediction, but a prediction for the season. And don't tell me like the Eagles will make the playoffs. You know, I mean, a little bold prediction. We're starting with you, Mr. Carton.
I think this would be the boldest prediction of all. I don't even know what your predictions are. The MVP of the NFL this year is going to be Aaron Rodgers. He will win the MVP. He'll be Comeback Player of the Year. He'll be Sexiest Man Alive. And he will actually show us proof that UFOs exist by Columbus Day. Aaron Rodgers is your MVP. That's my bold prediction for 2023.
I don't think that's bold. I think it's expected, especially from a diehard Jets fan, right? It's a win.
Okay.
I think the odds are pretty long that he wins the MVP.
I will eat 3 dozen wings on Sunday.
20.
Okay, go ahead.
My bold prediction is Aaron Donald will be traded this year.
Oh,
he will hit the trade
okay.
deadline, man. He cost the Rams a lot of money. They won't be as good as they used to be. Sean McVay will be out the door as well, I think so. So I think Aaron Donald may find his way in Pittsburgh, where he's from, because our defensive line is dealing with a couple woes. Cam is dealing with a stomach issue. And I think Aaron Donald wants to go home with historic.
All right, Aaron Donald gets traded to the Steelers. I like it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to stand on what I've said earlier, and that's the Broncos are going to make the playoffs.
Broncos.
Look, I'm hitching
This season.
That's not
this
happening.
season
In the
I'm
NFL.
hitching my wagon to Sean Payton, not a particular player. Yes, not even you, Russell Wilson, because I believe he's going to be able to be enough to get it done, to right the ships and the wrongs that we did see so much of last season with this offense.
Well, if the Broncos win the opener on Sunday, they'll be a game ahead of the Chiefs.
They will.
Let's
The division, top of the division.
I got to hold you accountable. What's your bold prediction?
So I'm not going to sit here and say the Saints are going to be the number 1 seed in the NFC, but I'll say they'll be the top 2 seed in the NFC. They have the second easiest schedule. They're in a division where they can eat up a lot of wins. It's like the Eagles last year. It's such an easy schedule. They racked up wins. I think the Saints do the same, because if you look at the other NFC teams, they have tougher divisions, and I think they get chewed up a little bit.
Look, they're going to win their division, so, I mean, they'll be in the conversation for 1 or 2 if Derek Carr plays the way that the Saints are hoping. Remember, Derek Carr has never won a playoff game. He's only been there 1 time. All right, listen, every Friday on this show, of course, I know a lot of you guys like to follow picks. So the guys are going to give picks. I don't give picks. I'm a compulsive gambler, so I can't make picks, and I don't make picks. If you are going to wager on college football or NFL football, always wager responsibly. Do it with your friends. It should be a social fun activity. If it's not, reach out for some help. We start you off with Mr. Jacoby.
This is a tale of 2 teams. One team descending into the depths of the draft. Another team ascending. I have the Seahawks -4 against the Rams. I think the Seahawks get better. The Rams are going to be entering the draft.
Rams are going to be a bad football team. That brings me to Greg Jennings, your pick, sir.
I like the Steelers over the 49ers.
Yeah!
Wow.
This is a young team, but Mike Tomlin finds a way to always pull things together, and this is a potential playoff team right here.
It'd be interesting to see Mike Tomlin's defense against still a relatively inexperienced starting quarterback in Brock Purdy. You're getting 2.5 in that game.
Yes.
And Biggs, what do you got?
Man, we just talked about I have the Saints, Derek Carr beating the Tennessee Titans. Talking about Alvin Kamara, Jamal Williams, the whole gang. That defense is stellar. I got the Saints over the Titans.
And then, of course, the big game Sunday night, the Giants and the Cowboys, a divisional rival to end Sunday's football. Yeah. And then, of course, When we come in on Monday, we talk about all those games and we get ready for the biggest game of the weekend. And that, of course, is going to be Jets and Bills on Monday night. Now, a staple of our show every Friday, bring it on in here, Troy, is what goes with football. Food goes with football.
Yeah.
We got celery there for the big fella.
Hey!
Because we know that you don't like to eat a lot of things. Dinosaur barbecue. Let's all have a wing and toast each other to what should be a great season of NFL football. And we have you covered from soup to nuts every weekday morning
The second they brought us in the studio, Willie was like, what's that? What are we doing with those? I don't know. What segment is this?
Troy, bet responsibly if you're going to wager. Enjoy the football. Hopefully your favorite team wins. We will see you Monday morning, 7 o'clock Eastern, for the Carton Show. For David Jacoby and Greg Jennings and Willie Colon, Craig Carton, have a great weekend and good luck. Oh, yeah.
It was good.